Advertising is everywhere and everything. My mom used to say to me, the only things free in life are your mother's love and the park. In today's digital age, if you're not buying it, you're selling it. In other words, if you're not paying for a service with money, you're paying with time and viewership. The beauty industry has always fascinated me because of its power in convincing people of all genders and walks of life what they should want to look like. I also think it's so interesting how much the standard of beauty changes through space and time and even within communities. The Kardashians popularized the Brazilian butt lift, only to get their implants modified in recent years to have a more skinny look. There is no one way to beauty, and we can clearly see that reflected in models, celebrities, and influencers, and even everyday people. The Illusionist, a film directed by Elena Rossini, discusses the factors that have gone into the dispersion of hegemonic beauty standards to predominantly non-white countries. The beauty industry, mixed with the messaging of mass media companies and global advertising firms, contribute to the way people see themselves and therefore spend money to feel better about themselves. Companies count on the fact that sad people make more purchases as a way of wanting to be more satisfied with themselves. Therefore, the ideal consumer is self-conscious and ready to fix what it is that they don't like about themselves. Some of the main contributions to the globalization of beauty are skin lightening, modeling, image retouching, dieting, cosmetic surgery, and the porn industry. Beauty industries often pose a problem and provide the quote perfect solution to fix it. However, it is the posing of that problem that is often not transparent to the consumer. Much of the brand messaging out there is camouflaged as news content. Jean Killiborn explains, one thing that I think most people don't realize is the extraordinary amount of power that advertisers have in terms of the content of the media. That people like to think that there's kind of a wall between editorial content and advertising, but in fact, there really isn't. A huge amount of the content that we get on the news is actually video news reports that are sponsored and paid for by corporations without the viewer being aware of it. Services and products that a brand may offer varying from country to country. In Asia, a brand may sell skin lightening creams, while in America, that same brand may sell tanning products. It is not the brand's main concern that people are light or dark, but more that they want the opposite and feel the need to spend money on it. This further reiterates that the beauty industry is less concerned about how you see yourself and more about what you spend. In this globalization of beauty standards, countries that are not predominantly white are fed these notions that they should want to look more white. This goes back to the idea of making the consumer want what they don't have, unrealistic beauty standards. Although this globalization affects men, women are more often the sponges of this constant and subtly damaging media messaging. Something I loved about this film was the diversity of perspectives that it presented and the amount of different cultures that were represented in the film. Rossini went to France, India, America, South Africa, Japan, and so many more countries. Although each place had its nuances, the theme throughout was very similar. When asked in an interview why she chose to make this documentary, her answer was very telling. She noticed an epidemic with the women in her life and around her. She saw how nearly every woman she knew, old or young, regardless of culture, was self-conscious about their appearance in some way. There was something about their body, face, skin, or beauty that they would hope to change. See, she says that younger girls who were once very confident started doubting themselves and subsequently attaching their self-worth to their physical beauty as they hit puberty. She noticed that with older or middle-aged women, they were self-conscious about aging, their bodies changing size, and their skin changing texture. All in all, there was always something to quote fix. I noticed the very same thing in my life, even if it is not always openly talked about. Not every woman I know is self-conscious, and some men are also very insecure about their looks as well. However, I believe she is absolutely correct about this. It is disturbing that so many women base their worth on their self-appearance, and there is no one way to beauty. Whether through models, fashion ads, beauty ads, television, comics, or porn, women throughout the world express similar sentiments regarding the feeling for embodying the quote, perfect woman. Throughout space, time, culture, and communities, beauty standards greatly change. But what stays constant is the interconnected ways in which the beauty industry creates insecurity and offers ways to fix the problems. This leaves many women in a perpetual and generational cycle of lack, spending, and being chained to the hegemonic standards of beauty. As a woman, I can relate to being constantly fed these hegemonic beauty standards. Learning this made me stop and think about some of the ways these messages shape my view of beauty, as well as the men and women in my life. A large part of the film covers the popularity and borderline obsession of skin lightening in Asian cultures. Being South Asian, I've seen how the color of your skin is a constant factor of your physical beauty. During trips to India, comments were made about how light or dark I was, but in America, I often get comments about my nice, tanned complexion. The concept of wanting a tan skin tone that is not, quote, too dark, often found in Western cultures, and the desire to be pale in Asian cultures, is to me strange and problematic. In an industry where demand and the market for products is both created and fulfilled by the same entities, companies thrive off of consumers' insecurities. This creates a brainwashing effect where much of what we find beautiful is created by beauty companies.